Hey Libra, it's your girl Belladonna Krishana here with your mid-month reading. It's a little bit after the mid-month, and I do apologize for that. I was trying to find the right timing because I travel a lot, and so actually right now I'm in California, and I'm typically in Nevada. So anyway, I was looking for the right timing to do your reading, but here we are. I wanted to first off start by saying thank you so much for all of your likes and subscribes and your sharing. My eye is a little dry. I just put my contacts in. Your likes and subscriptions and for sharing these videos. It definitely means a lot. Thank you for joining the community. So, while I was meditating on guys' energy, um, two things came up. First of all, I don't feel like anything is a coincidence. So when we start speaking about trying to find the right timing, I feel like that is as significant as any other part of this reading is the idea of having to find the right timing for things or the right timing in general for things. Also, um, equally, or with that, there was also this idea of don't forget that there's low hanging fruit. So we're going to focus on that being kind of the theme of this reading is timing and low-hanging fruit. I feel like more so that would be like if you were if you're in a situation and you're waiting for something big to come through and you're so focused on that you don't realize that there are like little blessings in between. So it's like you have the low hanging fruit that's actually still available to you. And that in time, those things that you were waiting for will fall off that tree so that you can actually, benefit from that. You can actually partake of that fruit. So let me go ahead and shuffle these cards and I will tell you what I see. If I keep looking over and my eyes get all weird, it's because it's not because I'm a reptilian or something like conspiracy videos on YouTube. It's literally because my eye is really dry right now and I'm trying to like work it out. Ugh. Anyway, we're gonna just start this reading. All right. So we're gonna start with my Libra T deck, and then we're gonna move on to my deck that I typically do for readings so that we can kind of get a little bit more of a grasp on what to expect for this next month. Okay, so let's shuffle a few more cards. All right. I don't feel that one. I don't know. I don't feel that one. All right, here we go. So, all right. We start off with the energy of the Knight of Swords, right? So, the fact that you were, here we go. I always associate, for me, with like Libra or most air signs, especially because I'm a fire sign, with being the people who spark inspiration. I feel like that is definitely your guys's power. Is this ability to spark inspiration, and the Knight of Swords is, you had inspiration and you decided to move with it, to go with it, to charge forward, to charge forth in it. This could also indicate um, being inspired to do something and not really weighing the consequences, just charging in. So that could be in terms of a relationship or in terms of a job, needing a job so badly that the first one that opened up, you went for it, and or needing or feeling like you want a relationship so badly that you just kind of jumped into it without really looking at maybe there's red flags or maybe there are elements of that don't necessarily fit with me. Now I don't necessarily feel like there's a such thing as particularly making a mistake. Sometimes we have a step though that maybe could have been a little bit easier, or or you just need to learn a lesson at that moment. At the same time, there is that sort of like, making sure that that everything fits before you actually move into it, because sometimes, again, we're so pressured by the idea or maybe even the fear of lack, the fear of not having, that we would rather charge in and have even momentarily than to actually wait for the right thing to come. So anyway, um so we have the six acceptors, and so I feel like this, this definitely has served its purpose for whatever you needed to do. So, in this sort of past energy, and I feel like this is definitely like a passing or past energy. This has definitely been one of those situations um where you're like, okay, but I had a weekly paycheck, so there you go, or a biweekly paycheck, or whatever, there you go. Or, I don't have to be alone. I can, Netflix and chill with somebody who's stable. Or, this could also be, that, and in the opposite direction too, that, well, I stayed away from, these certain things. So, I'm fine now. I'm calm. I don't have the anxiety associated with being a part of things that may not have worked, and so I feel like there's definitely like a lot of fear energy, a lot of like energy surrounding having and not having, and that's not really the energy. That's sort of a desperate energy, and you don't want to move in a desperate energy, because moving in a desperate energy actually will create situations where you get things out of disparity, and getting things out of disparity are never the genuine, or never the hold on one second. Springtime allergies. I had to go blow my nose. Sorry. Um, so anyway, so working in the spirit of disparity will bring you things that come in the spirit of disparity. It's like you could wait and you could have a full meal, or you could have fast food, you know, and most of the time, what's going to be more beneficial to you. It's like obviously waiting to have something that is of substance to your body is definitely a lot better than just getting something in the meantime. So, how does that tie in? We'll get there. We have the Ten of Spheres. So the energy is there, the energy, especially in this next coming month, is there for you to actually get what you need, you know, and maybe not necessarily exactly what you want, but what you need. And that thing that you need is the thing that's going to further build into something that's going to be more of a better fit, I would say, a better fit for you, in this time period, in this, especially, during the year. We're in the Mercury retrograde right now. And so, with that, I feel like you guys are going to know exactly what that means in this coming month, as far as what is it that I need within my life, instead of just attracting the things that you want. Because just attracting the things that you want in a moment could definitely cause you to sort of feel like you're not moving forward in the way that you want to, just because the energies are not really being used to full capacity, so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle my other cards, and then we'll get to what I see there. I think I did I tie this up? Okay, there we go. Talking to myself, just trying to figure out, like, where am I? What am I doing? All right. So I'm gonna pull like six cards from this deck. I'm gonna shuffle them real quick. I'm gonna pull six cards. It's a little bit chilly. I know it's like springtime, and it has not warmed up that much yet in LA, California. But at the same time, like, it's 60 degrees, which is cold to me. I know someone's watching this and they're like, 60, really? Really though? Okay, hold on. There's another point that I think in the last thing that I was. Oh, okay. The other point that I kind of had with the Ten of Spheres before I finished this shuffling and stuff was the idea of, that's also the inheritance card. And so, and so a lot of times we're desiring things, we're struggling for things, and not realizing the fact that they are our inheritance to have. And so and so it's not about gaining, it's about getting yourself into a place to receive, you know? So anyway, that's something that I want to mention. All right. So, okay. We have some interesting energies going on here. All right. So first of all, we have the magician. And this sort of speaks to exactly what I was saying is in what spirit are you doing what you need? Or do sorry, in what spirit are you trying to manifest what you need rather? So are you doing it from a state of being desperate, of disparity? Are you doing it because are you manifesting these things because the fact that that you can't be alone, or that that you don't think you deserve to have more, a better job, or you don't think you deserve to have money, or are you doing these things you think you don't deserve it, or that you deserve a lesser version of it? Are you doing it because you are fearful, this sort of like fear based, well, like I have to have so that I don't ever feel like I don't have, or are you doing it coming from a place of you're standing in your own power, and standing in your own sort of grace, without having these sort of like, this feeling of, again, disparity. Um, yeah, it's being very mindful of in what spirit you're working with in terms of intention, in terms of manifestation within your life. Don't pick a partner just because you don't hate them. I think we've all done that on some level. It's like you pick somebody because you're like, well, I don't hate them. Well, like, I don't hate them doesn't mean you love them, or I don't hate them just because I don't hate them isn't a really great basis for a relationship. It's like, and these are all foundational questions too, right? So this is all about building a foundation. What is that foundation built on? So we have the Wheel of Fortune. So whatever you've kind of like gained. Okay, so this is, I think, where the low, because sometimes like I get these ideas and I'm like, okay, low hanging fruit, like what is that, like about getting low hanging fruit, or is this about just that's the energy that you've kind of been channeling? And I feel like what this means, what that phrase low hanging fruit in this particular situation means, that perhaps that is what you've been getting instead of actually waiting for the other fruit to fall. You've been kind of clinging on to this low hanging fruit. So that's what I actually think this means. So yeah, it's like, so because this is just what I'm seeing with the cards now, and like I said, just take a little bit of time while we're doing this, because I'm doing this completely um, off the cuff, and so I think this takes a little bit of time sometimes to be able to like work out like what are these meanings. So the Wheel of Fortune, I think, is in reference to, especially with the Magician card, where you've been, especially there's Mercury retrograde. I feel like this is definitely going to become a lot clearer. But where you've been is perhaps only hanging on to the low hanging fruit and not waiting for the better fruit, the fruit that is closer to, that have had a lot more time to gestate on the tree. The fruit that has been, sitting there in the sun is probably a lot sweeter. You haven't been really waiting for that fruit. You've been sort of just hanging on to whatever's low hanging, but you deserve to have the full tree is yours. You deserve to have the fruit from the higher parts of the tree. um we have the Queen of Cups here, and this is basically telling you in this season you really need to be a lot more, it's not being intuitive as much as it is you need to be more receptive to the your intuitive nature, more open to listening to it. This could also speak of being able to you need to allow yourself to be a little bit vulnerable. I was talking to somebody about the idea of communing with madness. And what I meant by that was I happened to have had a relationship, and the person that I was with was kind of crazy. And I kind of allowed that cycle to happen just because I was just curious. I was like, I wonder how this is gonna kind of play out. It's not my typical mode of doing things, but I also, a lot of the work that I do requires sort of study and work. Um, in the sense of studying, I study people, I study situations. I'm sort of the observer. There was like a test I did, and I'm the observer a lot of times. And so um, I was like, what am I getting out of this? Because I kind of wholly trust the universe um, in certain situations. I know I do enough work, and I do a lot of protection and things like that. And I just kind of wanted to see, like, what is going to happen here. Now, he wasn't like crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, he wasn't crazy, like killing someone crazy or like abusive. He was just in his own sort of like head. And anyway, so but one of the things that I learned from him through sort of sitting there and watching this and then seeing what I had to get out of it was this whole idea of I, in my life, I feel like I'm pretty stable, or I feel like I'm pretty, I'm pretty logical, regardless of the fact I do tarot readings and stuff. But I have I feel like I have a very good basis for associating things. I'm pretty good at what I consider math not being just numerical, but the whole language of the universe. I'm able to kind of suss out that information and kind of put it together. And um, and I felt like one of the things that needed to happen for me as in my own transformative process is I needed to not be afraid of my own madness. And madness being a being sort of that chaos that started the whole universe, not being afraid of that chaos, or being that chaotic at times. And that sort of authentic voice. What's that authentic voice within yourself? A lot of times we want to present the best version of ourselves to people and to things, and that's fantastic. But if you don't know that other part of yourself, that other part of yourself comes out in ways that you can't imagine. And I reference this a million times, and I know that I'll probably reference this. Um, you'll probably get the same reference several more times during the course of working with me or being here. But the Gospel according to St. Thomas in the Nag Hammadi, which it basically says, and I don't know like the scripture like reference or anything, but um, paraphrasing, it says, if you don't bring forth what is within you, what is within you will destroy you. But if you bring forth what is within you, what is within you will save you. So, the whole idea of you can't hide these parts of yourself. You have to commune with them at some point, you know? And so I feel like, I mean, that's probably a really deep meaning for this card, but I feel like the Queen of Cups is that. It's that communion. Look, she has this goblet here, which could definitely be a part of, she has the ocean here too. And so it's like communing with that emotional self, really kind of figuring out what's there, and really seeking to figure out what's there, what's really there. Because then you'll know your highest expression. Then you'll see, all the things that you deserve that maybe you've been denying yourself, especially emotionally. And emotionally could also be, taking jobs because you think that you just need the money, but not realizing that you deserve to have something that fulfills you in your everyday life. You're there like 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes longer. It's like you deserve to have something that fulfills you. And it's like eventually we're all going to leave this earth. And what do you want to be said about you? Do you want to feel like you've just lived a life of desperation, like at the end of your life you just lived a life of desperation, that was it? Or, do you want to know that you lived it, that you sought what you needed to find, or you found what you need to seek, etc. Anyway, so the Tower card comes up. I'm sorry, that was a really long explanation, but hopefully that was beneficial too. The Tower card comes up, And the Tower card is really sort of speaking to, there are things in your life that are about to shift. That is just the season. And I especially feel like with this Mercury retrograde, it might feel a little bit intense. It might feel like, okay, well, where am I going now? Like, what's going to happen now? I don't have, maybe even feeling like in the seeking of, while you're seeking what is the best and highest and most authentic version of yourself, there are sort of these energies that you have been using of disparity. And so disparity is false. And generally speaking, whatever is false will leave. That is just the truth. Anything that is real is permanent. So whatever is false will leave. Anything that's real is permanent. So disparity, fear is not real. Those things that you gained through that energy will leave. That tower will fall. It's not built on the right foundation, you know? And so, so it's going to feel a little bit intense, but it's all for your own self-advancement. It's because the universe sees you, and the universe sees you through love, not fear. You everything is just that. It's either love or fear. The universe doesn't see you in fear. The universe is not afraid of you. you know, the universe wants to see the highest version of yourself. And so these things done through love is sometimes moving things that you gain through disparity out, and that's going to feel quite intense. So we have the Two of Cups here. This is the card, and look, like you have this like sort of like divine presence, this divine, even like, like the Strength card has a lion, and even this like kind of like sort of, you have this divine strength, you know, this divine strength that's actually strengthening these two cups, these two lovers. And this could actually more so indicate, this might indicate, finding someone through this tower process, this tower period, finding someone who wants to really support you through that. Not in a what's the word? Not in a sort of like codependent way, but who really, again, sees you like the universe sees you and really wants to work with you through that. This could be the card of even emotional support when it comes to friends and family, that you have a lot more than you think that you do, and so this is there's that. You also have the support of the universe in this union. But again, this is funny because we have the cups here, and the way the cups are held between here and here definitely again speaks to me as about this idea of you communing. And it's hard because a lot of people, not everybody's going to understand that language, but hopefully it speaks to you. There is a communion that needs to happen with your emotional self. Now, with your emotional self doesn't necessarily just mean the self that goes on Tinder because they're lonely. That the emotional self is that intuitive force. The emotional self is that passion, you know, communing with these energies. And so they become a part of you. And as they become a part of you, you will then start to sort of understand, again, how love sees you. One of my friends, I wrote this little blog, and my blog is down below in case you guys are interested. But I wrote this blog about what would love do. Kind of like people were like, okay, what would Jesus do? What would God do? The like little bracelets that used to happen like back in the 90s. But my friend told me something, and I really like meditated on it. It's the idea of what would love do? Would love only take things out of disparity? Would love only give because they don't want to lose? Would love do, what would love do? And so this is definitely also asking that question of what would love do? Um, Through this tower process, through gaining the support of the universe and gaining support of friends and family, people around you who definitely see you in the spirit of the goggles of love, um, which is your true self, because you were made in love. That is you were made in the image of your creation, which is all love. So through that, this is definitely, this is just transformation. And this is just transformation to the highest version of yourself. And that is, when you come out of this, the you're going to see it too. You're going to finally be able to see it too. The Six of Cups comes and says that, there are going to be some, this is typically saying like don't look at past energies. I feel like in this period of time with this transformation that you're going to, I feel like a lot of past energies are going to come up and you're going to have to resolve them. But you're going to have to resolve them through the new vision of what would love do to this situation. And that means that, let's say past lovers come back. Maybe love would naturally let it go, but in love. You know what I'm saying? Not in fear, not running away, but love would let them go and wish them well. You know, this could also speak of, past feelings that you had in terms of jobs and stuff like that. And you might actually find yourself in a similar situation with a job that you've had in the past, you know, and and ask yourself through that, like, what would love do? Is this really fulfilling me? Is this something that I want versus or even need, but do I really need it in a fearful way, or do I need it because there's something in that's going to feed me, you know. My nose is stopped up, so the video is going to end soon, but um yeah, so it's just the idea of, I would really ask myself this question within this next month. I know there's been a lot of information in this video, but I would ask myself the question through this entire month: what would love do? Would love just take the low-hanging fruit? See how we turned it back around? Would love just take the low-hanging fruit, or would love wait for the best? So I hope this was helpful, and I will be back for your mid-month reading in April. Thank you so much for being patient, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.